4,400 milliamp hour battery. 5,600 milliamp hour battery. 4,400 milliamp hour battery. And apparently, with the Galaxy Z Fold 7, that is not changing. Even though the screens are allegedly getting larger and wider in the case of this cover display, the battery in the Galaxy Z Fold 7 is reportedly not getting any larger, sticking with 4,400 milliamp hours. This comes from a report on 9to5google.com, headline reading, Samsung refuses to give the Galaxy Z Fold 7 a bigger battery. Apparently the Flip 7 is getting smaller, which is also, you would say, maybe a worse decision. Now, I already know where the comment section is going to go, and I totally understand it. People are going to be very upset to have this news sort of reconfirmed. So before we dive into this article a bit deeper and talk about how we think we know this, I want to quickly say this. I have daily driven this phone a decent amount. Even recently, I had my SIM in here as I did my long-term review, and maybe you would say 6 days out of the week, this device lasts me all day without needing to be charged. Waking up at 6:30, 7 o'clock in the morning, going to bed 9:30, something like that. I'm old. I go to bed at like 9 or 9:30. It's absolutely fine. Now, it's not quite as good as the Oppo Find N5, which does have a much larger battery, but it's always been perfectly adequate for me. Now, you may be saying to yourself, Shane, the screens are getting larger. We are supposed to be getting an 8-inch inner screen and a larger cover display. That's going to hurt the battery life. And you are absolutely right. But let me quickly just remind you of this. The Galaxy S25 Ultra, when I went from the S23 Ultra to the 25 Ultra, I discovered something quite strange. Not only did it charge a little bit faster despite having the same rating, it also lasts me longer despite having the same size battery. Software matters. The system on a chip matters, the Snapdragon 8 Elite, and how it is tuned. All of these things do matter. So my general thought, my guess would be that the Z Fold 7 is going to have battery life that, I'll put it to you this way. If this phone's battery life was good enough for you, the Fold 7 is likely to be good enough for you as well. I would guess that they're going to be very, very similar. Although, I would love to see them switch to the silicon carbon batteries that we have in something like this Oppo Find N5 and put in a much larger battery, because I do think Samsung's battery optimization might be better than Oppo's. I don't know. I feel like that thing should last me a lot longer than it does, considering how long this one lasts me. I don't know. At any rate, I would love to see a bigger battery and faster charging, but we are not getting either of those things for the most part. So back to this article. This comes from the Tech Outlook, who is confirming that the Galaxy Z Fold 7 is going to be using the same size battery. And it's basically coming from this listing. Now, keep in mind that batteries are kind of an inexact science. You'll notice things will say typically, and then they'll give the capacity because things are always a little bit off from that. They list two different batteries. It's a folding phone, so it can have two batteries in it. One with a capacity of 2126. The other one is 2146. That totals 4272, and no, that's not 4,400 milliamp hours, but 9to5Google here writes that that's high enough to fall into a marketing or a typical capacity of 4,400 milliamp hours. And sticking with the theme of nothing much changing, on the Tech Outlook's actual article, they wrote that these devices also appeared on the 3C certification database as well, and that both devices will support 25-watt wired charging, and that is exactly the same speed as the Z Fold 6 and the 5 and the 4, and maybe all of them. I don't actually remember, but at least the last few. In a world where other OEMs are using silicon carbon batteries to be impossibly thin, packing in 5,600 milliamp hour batteries at the same time as also giving us 80-watt wired charging, it is definitely a little bit of a black eye for Samsung as far as I'm concerned that they have not managed to do any better. I think that the real world consequences won't be that crazy, but when you're talking about a $1,900 phone, knowing that it's not the best of the best and that other folding phones from other OEMs are beating them in these hardware ways, that is definitely a hard pill to swallow. Guys, let me know your thoughts in the comments down below, even if I'm quite certain that I already know what they're going to be. I'll see you on the next one. And until next time, stay nerdy, my friends.